In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
What's happening, Chadwick?
Frank, not much, man.
Hey!
How are you doing? And how you millions of listeners doing? Crickets.
Oh boy, I'm
Crickets
good.
chirping.
The crickets, I can hear them. I can feel them. I can feel their presence. Even as I sleep, which is mildly disconcerting because
That's like
Let's
meth,
face it.
right? You can feel insects under your skin as a common side effect of
meth.
meth.
Yeah. I believe that's right. Yeah. Or it's just scabies from living the meth lifestyle.
Two for
But
one.
much like scabies are, I can feel our viewers, and they're in good spirits.
Speaking
as
of
am I.
Joe Biden comments, feeling no, anyway,
Scabies, I'm
feeling you.
just feeling in general, like, yeah, a little touchy feely. We're slowly devolving into just like a weird like political satire podcast.
Oh yeah.
And that is bad news for everybody.
It's horrible.
You know what's not bad news? The best of things.
Banquet beer.
Well, yes, the banquet beer. I
Hmm.
don't have a banquet beer. I'm actually out of beer. Believe it or not.
Oh, good.
And I suppose.
Have you tried religion?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, we've got politics. We're doing religion. What's next?
We gotta check all the boxes here, but
Exactly.
yeah,
Let's
take
talk.
take
Are you
us
into
in.
phrenology? Like, let's talk about race science. No,
I'm gonna lean on Frank pulling us in, guys. That's how desperate we're getting here on the podcast. Get us back on
bad.
topic, Frank.
Topic. Let's just hard cut into this. Something that, if you've probably read the title of this here episode, you probably know what it is. We are going to talk today. We're going to dive back into the Car and Driver 10 best list of yesteryear. We've been touring it in 5-year increments. Last we left off in this multi-part saga, we outlined and discussed years ending in 1992, which brings me to one of my absolute all-time favorite years in the world of the automobile. Personally, a year after my own heart, 1993.
This is a good one. Yeah.
What were you doing in 1993?
I was a newly anointed teenager.
Oh, wow.
13. Yeah. Mostly collecting. One of my biggest things was collecting bottles and cans from the side of the road to change in at the Redemption Center so I could buy comic books. Was probably the biggest thing I was doing in 93, my man. How about you? What were you doing?
Similar. I turned 10 at the end of that year.
Oh, okay.
So, as a mostly 9, partially 10-year-old, boy, I was probably playing the original SimCity. Certainly playing a little bit of Sid Meier's Civilization on a DOS powered machine.
Good game though.
High quality, yeah, with the big floppies. Although at that point we might have upgraded to our Pentium 1 133 megahertz computer for the fam. I don't know if we had that in 93. That might have been too early. What I was also tinkering with was building model cars and doing all that. What I should have been doing is buying like new cars from 1993 and stashing them away because there were some gems.
Would have been pretty proud of you if you were doing that back then, Frank.
Yeah, but automotive futures, although adjusted for inflation and like care and feeding, I probably would have lost. But that is not going to ruin my dream of 1993. What do we want? Do you want to just rattle down the list and we can do that, or you want to go one car and volley this thing back and forth?
I think absolutely you should tear down this list since it's your dream year. Nearly 10-year-old Frank, his heart is open on this one, and then let's just like
we'll talk about them.
Yeah, do what we do. Talk.
What we do. 1993. Really good list here, ladies and gentlemen. First, BMW 525i. That is a carriover from 92.
325.
So did I say 525? I'm sorry. Yes, 325.
Don't try to
the E36, the E36 3 Series. If it was 93, that would have been the E34. But the E36 3 Series, not the 5 Series, excellent automobile. The Dodge Intrepid slash Eagle Vision slash Chrysler Concorde. That beautiful trifecta. That was a cab forward design. That was there. I think they dared call those intermediates, but they were pretty big cars. Front wheel drive, V6 powered. The Ford Probe GT.
Oh yeah.
93 Probe GT. The 93 Honda Prelude SI VTEC. Which was, I believe that was the first year of VTEC proper in the Prelude. You had the Jeep Grand Cherokee, specifically the V8 Grand Cherokee, which was good. That would have been the Chrysler 318. The SC300, the Lexus SC300. The Mazda RX-7, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. The Nissan 300ZX, which is another one that turbo, which has been on this list since since that bad boy rolled out.
Yeah, good car.
In that Z32. Nissan Sentra SER, which was also a carryover from 92.
Yep.
And the Toyota Camry, which a very important, very good car in 1993. In my opinion, there's some snubs on this list, but we'll talk about that. What any of those you want to talk about specifically?
I mean, there's some absolute icons on this list, my friend. I don't think we need to no one's shocked that the 300ZX twin turbos on the list again. The RX-7's on the list. Those are two Japanese icons. Boy, that's a power couple right there if ever I've seen one. I'm a huge fan of both those cars. Completely different ways to be a Japanese sports car in the early 90s. Yeah. Very dynamically different cars, but equally awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, in a lot of ways, they were competitors, but they went about the same kind of math problem completely different. And then I was having a discussion with somebody yesterday, over standing next to and adjacent to an FDRX-7. This particular example, very clean, very stock, red over tan leather, automatic, which is tragic in a lot of ways, but part of me kind of want to drive that car. I kind of want to see what it's like. That said, I in my opinion, that is all the way around I think top 10, top 5 prettiest cars of all time. I truly think that's a just beautiful car. Maybe the most beautiful car of the 1990s. In my opinion. I don't know. There's some other handsome cars. I really like the 4th gen Supra, even though it's a little, I don't think the design is actually aged all that well.
No.
While that RX-7 is that design is aged impossibly well. And I really still like the way the Supra looks, but I can't argue with that RX-7.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The ZX also looks pretty good. It's pretty arresting when you see a nice clean one, which is very hard to find nowadays. I think those have held up. And talk about an undervalued car on this list that is respected by all car enthusiasts, but has not fetched big dollar yet. The Sentra SER, the B13, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
For front wheel drive, based on an economy car, very few things could hang with this car when it came out. On both the handling, basic SCCA racing. There was racing totally built around the B13 Sentra SER, and yet this car isn't worth a whole bunch nowadays. It's shocking.
It's not, and I think part of it is the Sentra name is not one that commands the room, right? It's pretty, SER gives it some cachet, but it's not this brand it's not a direct parallel, but they continue to make that chassis up until an hour ago in Mexico. That's the Suru.
Yeah, the taxi cab.
Yeah, and so it's there's a reason why part of the reason why those cars were so fun is they were built so lightweight, so thin, and it which made them a death trap, but it made them really fun to drive because they were very light and tossable. I kind of want to read. I popped up what the notes were from Car and Driver on that car in Era.
Oh yeah.
We count ourselves among we count ourselves among discoveries in this plain, inexpensive little jewel, and we continue to love it. The Nissan Sentra SER isn't going to win any beauty contests, but it's a beautiful driving experience. And then they go on to talk about it more. But that's actually probably a pretty good synopsis. It wasn't overly flashy unless you knew what to look for, right? With like the 14-inch alloys and the fog lights and the spoiler, you're not going to notice.
Yep.
But yeah, great little car. And what I find interesting is off the heels of talking about like the RX-7 and how I think that's like one of the prettiest cars of all time. Their note on that car here says, all versions scored high in our voting. The only disagreement evidenced itself in the RX-7 styling being too much on the jelly bean side for many. So in period, they didn't like, it was a mixed bag on what people thought of that car.
Well, that was kind of early 90s. So we were starting to like
92.
adapt to a rounder, body shape, coming out of the 80s, especially the Ford Probe GT at the time was pretty damn cool. A very cool car. The 325i, obviously, like you said, the E36, pretty good looking car.
Yeah, pretty boxy. I mean, it wasn't super roundy.
Not yet, no.
Yeah. And that's a car that has aged very well as well, the E36. And I too find myself becoming more comfortable with roundiness as I age. Yeah, just personally, like when I get out of the shower and I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror. What else is on this? You know what? I want to take a second and talk about the Grand Cherokee.
Yeah,
that was a sneaky important SUV. Like we don't think about it that much. If we think about that era of Jeep, we think Wrangler and we think the classic Cherokee, right?
Right.
We don't think that much of the Grand Cherokee. The Grand Cherokee, people talk a lot about how important that original Ford Explorer was in making, suburbanites have a mid to small SUV as a family thing.
Sure.
That Jeep Grand Cherokee was right there with it, in my opinion. I mean, it really was there. They're shouting out the V8 in this top 10 list, but yeah, important vehicle.
People like the joke is the 370Z stayed the same for Nissan forever. How long did the Grand Cherokee literally stay exactly the same?
Yeah, like the Cherokee ahead of it, and then the Grand Cherokee. I mean, the original Cherokee, that released in 82?
And didn't change until
they killed it off in 02,
and it didn't change really that much. Headlights, bumpers, things like that, but the body was still nice and boxy. Never looked bad though, let's be honest. Talk about a timeless design. That boxiness just with SUVs.
Yes. And then let's quick shout out, otherwise we'll be here all day. Dodge Intrepid, Eagle Vision, Chrysler Concorde. That's a car like we talk about a lot of. We are shitbox whisperers here, and so like we talk about that type of car a lot. We don't talk about that car specifically all that much, or Eagle in general. We need to bring Eagle back into the fold at someday. But talk about cars you just don't see anymore. That first gen of Intrepid Vision Concorde. When's the last time you've seen a decent one ever?
It's been a long time. I think the cloud cars were more the packs I ran in were more popular. They were more affordable, smaller, more diminutive size. These cars were kind of boaty and kind of big for their time. And I'm talking about jelly bean design. How didn't they take any qualms with these things?
I know, right?
Complete jelly
well, the
beans.
later ones, these were the earlier ones. These ones had a little bit more of like the deck lid was flat. Like the later ones was like a straight up bubble, like that.
True,
the
but they were
still and stuff like that.
Super rounded, right, compared to like 80 stuff. So
yeah, especially like the schnoz,
the Concorde, especially.
Yeah, the Concorde with that like kind of like vertical straight grille, but then the rest was just all kind of rounded out. Pretty big cabins, big trunks.
Yeah,
weird proportions. Anyone you want to touch on there before we travel in time 1 year forward?
No, I'm pumped to do my 94, but do you want to tell us about the fastest car, perhaps, and the top selling cars of 93?
Oh, yes.
Super fun.
Yes, 1993. Do you have a guess on what the fastest car was in 93?
I would if I didn't have it in front of me.
For those of you playing along at home, absolutely one of my poster child cars as an actual human child. Right at this area. Lamborghini Diablo, 204 miles per hour. Top selling car, 1993, the Ford Taurus. Number 2, Honda Accord. Number 3, Toyota Camry. Sedan. How far we have come, and the mighty have fallen.
Who would think, like, especially modern, well, obviously modern, not at all, but even when sedans were all over the place, an American sedan being at the top of that list, my friend.
Right.
I have a feeling after in the few years to succeed what we're currently talking about, we're not going to see that anymore. I got this feeling.
I've got a feeling. 1994.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
This is a pretty solid year too, my friend. We've
It is
got
a pretty
lot
solid year.
we're revisiting a lot of folks we already talked about, but let's start off something fresh, something we both appreciate and love.
Mhm.
The Acura Integra GSR.
Yeah.
We've got the BMW 3 Series, the entire series getting a shutout, mostly the 325i and IS.
Mhm.
We got the big cars again, the Concorde, Intrepid, and Vision back again. Ford Probe GT. We've got the Honda Prelude with the VTEX. Honda Accord EX. We've got the Lexus SC back. And why don't we just invite back some really good cars, some RX-7, Sentra SER, and the 300ZX twin turbo back at it, my friend.
No. Yeah.
Good list.
It is a good list. It's funny how much of it is like is fairly carryover.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Because of that, should we just have a little bit of a love affair with the GSR? Because those are I owned a GS. We've talked about this in the past. I own a 98 GS sedan 5-speed. Good, solid, just well-rounded little compact sedan. But the GSR was a special one, and available in coupe and sedan form.
Ooh, sedan.
You have a lot of time in one of those?
I've driven a couple. I've driven modified ones and stock ones. So never owned one though, and I've always looked. And I'll be dead honest with you. One of my tasks when I was looking for a fun daily is I know I settled on the TSX, but similar to that would be a GSR 4-door, which is exactly what I was gunning for. But Frank, I will put a challenge upon you, my friend. Find a GSR 4-door manual in decent shape. That's the problem. Like they're either rotted out and just trashed, which is just so sad. Especially the sedans. You think the sedan would have a longer lifespan out of the hands of modders. It didn't. They still fell into the same clutches, unfortunately. And sad, dude. But I looked really hard. I looked very hard.
They're out there, but there's like 7 of them globally. Like they're pretty hurt. You're better off. It's honestly, I'm convinced it would be easier to import to get a JDM Type R than it would be to get a clean GSR sedan. Because we are spending so much, so much of this is an overlap from the previous year. I want to read the quick blurb from the car and driver thing on this car specifically.
Yeah, let's do it.
Call us gearheads, but we're suckers for an 8,200 RPM redline. Give us an engine that develops 170 horsepower from a mere 1.8 liters and screams for joy as it spins at its rotational speeds that were the exclusive domain of pure racing power plants just a few years ago, and will fall in lust every time. Drop such an engine into a lovely compact sedan with a sophisticated control arm and multi-link suspension that can simultaneously cope with the engine's lofty power and provide a comfortable and controlled ride, and will be hopelessly head over heels. Wrapped in an attractive body that contains a useful backseat and plenty of luggage space, the Integra GSR can carry your burdens even as it soothes your soul. At a fully equipped price just under $20,000, it's a terrific value for the young, young at heart, driving enthusiast.
Dude, what an awesome car. And I absolutely love my TSX for a lot of similar things. Remember Honda back in the day were like discounters of awesome suspension setups. Like, oh, do you want a double wishbone multi-link? Here you go. Everybody else doing McPherson and, twist beam and all this horrible archaic stuff. Honda always offered like a great suspension setup. And that TSX I have, obviously got multi-link in the rear and the front is double wishbone. I mean, that's fantastic for its price point for what it is too, a junior executive. So
right.
This GSR, dude, I would love to track down a clean one. It's really, like we talked about, Mission Impossible. It's a goddamn shame.
Sneaky good tattoo idea is just getting like a really like hyper realistic small tattoo of a GSR sedan on pick your body part, and just underneath it just have it say in block letters junior executive.
Ooh,
yeah, like there you go.
I like it.
Or maybe Comic Sans, but either way, you should probably get that lower back. Tat. Any
Horse.
other any horse? What'd you say?
I said, of course, my friend.
Oh, I thought you were going Mr. Hands on me. Do you have
Yeah.
anything else you want to read off this list?
Nothing really. Let me add the extra fun stuff that we talk about because this list is
Yeah.
pretty much regurgitated from the other one. But fastest car tested this year represent Chevy Corvette ZR1 coming at you, topping out at 179. So no Diablo, but boy,
did it? They just, I guess,
what a
I guess you
discount.
just test them every other year.
Yeah, what a discount for the ZR1. Top selling cars of 1994, Ford Taurus holding on thanks to RoboCop. And you got the Honda Accord and hello, little Escort. Welcome to the top 3 list.
Yes, fantastic.
Frank, usher us into the wonderful year of 1995.
1995. This is going to be a little bit more crossover, but we have some new players that have entered the game. So we still have the Integra GSR, the BMW 325i and M3. We have the Accord, which seems to be ever present on these lists. Honda Prelude, Lexus SC300 still in the mix. In 1995, so I think they did a facelift in 95, if I remember correctly, a modest one, not a big one. Mazda RX-7 still there. 300ZX still there, which means that the Z32 300ZX was there every single year. Well, no, they killed it off in 96, right? There was one more year. So we'll see. We'll yet to see if it's there in 96. But so far it's clean sweeping. And then we've got some of the newcomers. 1995 Nissan Maxima SE.
Oh.
We've got the Chrysler Cyrix LXi. So the clouds, there's a cloud coming.
That's premium cloud though.
It's definitely it's not in the stratosphere. That's a different cloud.
Oh.
But it's a good one. Ford Contours and Mercury Mystique, those two stablemates, I found their way in there.
Tough year.
Yeah. And of the newbies, which one is getting your goat?
Dude, this is tough. Clearly the clear winner is the Mystique, but let's be honest.
Mystique.
Let's be honest with ourselves. The M3 making the list, man. E36 M3, first year. Hello, little friend. And sure, we didn't get the European hut motor, but this is still like it got the suspension tweaks, it got the chassis tuning. Still a heck of a performer.
Yeah, no, and it's funny. I feel like those cars were the performance bargain forever, and then suddenly they were worth a lot of money, and now people, and then they started to get overlooked again real quick for the E46. And now I feel like people are going back and taking another look back at the E36 M3, and it's just like this kind of like up and down and up and down. But talk about cars that got abused and ruined. I mean, there's still a lot of nice ones out there because they were expensive, so they were kept after. But a lot of them, when the values of those got low, they got straight up murdered.
Dude, and by low, like this is a car that depreciated to about 6 to 7K for a decent example. And we're talking about a car that still maintained that maintenance requirement, right? And the folks that bought these things for $6,000 didn't have the deep pockets to put the kind of maintenance that you need to do to an M car to keep it roadworthy. So a lot of these were just beaten, just unbelievably, ridden hard, put away wet, which is my favorite dirty line. I don't know how that's in widely circulated circles as it is, but
I disapprove.
I love it. I visualize something every time I hear that one.
No, but I do not.
That M3 though, like, yeah, if you can find a low mileage example, they deserve quite a premium. And even the beaten ones are fetching way too much money for what it is. I'm going to be brutally honest with you, Frank. I don't think they're worth what they're asking. And not that it isn't a cool car, but just at the end of the day, that abused example, I know what went on there.
Oh, you've seen it. You know where the bodies are buried.
I've been there.
Yes. Shout out to the Maxima.
Yeah.
So this is the first year of, I suppose it's the 4th generation Maxima. Although the first one was like the first one no one talks about because it was basically the Datsun 710 that they just called it a Maxima for like an hour, and then that second gen came out, the front wheel drive VG powered example. 190 horsepower, the SE, so you can get over the 5-speed manual. They continued the tradition of the four-door sports car, which you got the little emblem on the rear quarter vent glass.
Cool. Yeah.
I very actually much prefer the generation prior to this.
I do too.
It's just so much sportier looking. The appearance on these was far more, I don't know, staid. But V6 manual transmission, in a nice, well-built mid-sized sedan.
Right.
So, you know, if push came to shove, I would want the generation prior, but these were still good. I want to say the generation before had a fancier suspension than these. I don't really remember. I think it went kind of the way of the Sentra in this era, where they went, the B13 was an independent rear, and then B14 came out, and it was a dead axle in the rear. I want to say the Maxim was something similar. Where it was a little bit of a starting to see some of the price cutting in the Nissan world.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. That previous gen was like way more boxier, way more European looking. I think that's what they were targeting with their looks department and their cosmetics. But you are right. The B13 SCR went from a way more complicated and better suspension setup, and that 200 SX SCR just kind of was like a
yeah. It was
those
more,
will never be worth much.
Yeah, it's a shame because it still has that good SR20 that we love.
Yeah, great motor, right?
Yeah, and I think they actually look okay. Every one of them is teal in my mind.
Yeah, which is cool. That's the only cool part.
Yeah, but not a special car like the SER was, the B13.
No.
Anyone else on this one that you wanna massage and pat on the head, or you want to?
Everything's pretty straightforward. I think the GSR being on there is awesome. The M3, I can't fault the 300ZX twin turbo for being on there. Again, that car was just it was a numbers machine, and it was
Mystique,
good looking
baby.
and fun. Yeah,
get me a Mystique.
Good Mystique. Yeah.
But you can get you can get that 2.5 V6, 170 horsepower with a manual in the Mystique.
Duratec. Isn't it Duratec V6?
It's a Duratec. Yeah, it's a 2.5 Duratec. And I don't know, that, I mean, it's a complete pile of garbage, but that'd be kind of fun to have a manual V6 Mystique Sport and some like rose gold exterior. And
that's I pictured velour. Those were all maroon or rose gold. I think that was the paint options you had.
Yeah, and as for top selling cars and top speed, our friend the Devil is back. Lamborghini Diablo VT.
Oh,
they apparently only got it to 185 miles an hour. It makes me wonder if it doesn't say it was the Roadster, but maybe.
You know what it was? It was the Aero. They added a lot of downforce for the VT, which made
the VT was all-wheel drive as well, right?
Correct, but they added a ton more aero. If you go back and look at even the imagery of these cars, and it added a lot more downforce, so it was quicker around a track, but the top speed suffers when you increase that aero.
Yeah, very tight is what VT stands for. Most people don't realize that.
Ah, yes.
Top selling cars, a familiar threesome.
It's me, Very Tightio.
Exactly. Yes.
That's not me.
Ford Taurus. No, not at all. Loosey goosey. Ford Taurus, Honda Accord, Toyota Camry. The three amigos are back in charge here. Sorry, Escort. You're gonna have to take a play off.
God damn it.
That brings us to 1996. Oh boy. We have you want to read this one? You want me to read it?
Yeah, I'll get into 96 here.
Go for it.
Dude, we got some change up stuff going on. Integra is called out, not particularly the GSR. At this time, the LS is probably getting some recognition here. The Audi A4. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Audi. Welcome to the mainstream, really. Right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
3 Series, 328 and M3 again, holler. Chrysler Town and Country, my friend. Minivan clan, rejoice. We got the Cloud cars. It sounds like clown cars, and it basically was. Somebody kids compile out of these things. We've got the Cirrus Stratus, and I'm sure the other one's on there, but I don't see it. Where's the other one? I don't know.
The Cirrus Stratus Cumulonimbus.
The Thunderclapper. Dodge Caravan, which is just the unfancy Town and Country. We got the Ford Contour holding it down. The Honda Civic getting on the list. Just straight up Honda Civic. Honda Prelude with that VTEC. I think VTEC should always be called out. Mercury Mystique is not going down without a fight. and I think that's mostly due to the Ford Taurus. Maxima SE still on there. Sure, 300ZX Turbo is still on the list. And the Plymouth Voyager, which I'm going to take a stab at it, is another fucking Caravan. So minivans in play, my friend. What stands out to you? What stands out to you in 1996 on this list?
First off, I'm disappointed that they breezed right past the Plymouth Cloud Car example.
True.
I don't know why that one got left by the wayside. Maybe they couldn't get the espresso trim level they wanted for a tester.
Wait, so that's why the Breeze was the neon. And the neon's not on the list.
Well, no, there was the Plymouth Breeze was the Plymouth Cloud Car, was the Plymouth Breeze, and then they had an espresso neon.
No, it was they had an actual Plymouth neon too. Never mind.
They did have a Plymouth neon and a Dodge neon. This was when like Plymouth was like in its death rattle, and so
it was all rebadged. You're right.
Yeah, but not even rebadge enough to be like, oh, we'll have the Dodge neon and the Plymouth Duster, right? Or Sundance. They're like, no, we'll continue to call it the neon. We'll just put a little boat logo on it instead of the ram head or whatever they were using at that time. Yeah, and so I guess maybe they knew. They're like, you know what, Plymouth, we can't have Plymouth on here more than once. It's a dying breed, so we'll leave that Cloud Car.
Well, I remember the Breeze didn't have as many trims because the Dodge you could get eventually you could get the RT versions of like the Stratus and stuff. And I know the Chrysler was kind of the nicer one. I think the Plymouth was more of the stripper, to tell you the truth. I think that's why it probably didn't make the list.
Yeah, that was Plymouth's kind of positioning in the land of Mopar was to be the economy entry. While Dodge was the more like performance-y one, and then the luxury entry, almost luxury, was Chrysler. But yes, maybe, who knows? Maybe 1997 will gain another cloud in our sky. How about that original? Well, not original. I suppose that was that the early B5.
In 1996. Yeah. Had to be, right?
I think that would have been the B5, because I think technically the B5 came out either that year or maybe a year early, but we only got it in 95 with the V6, and I don't know, was it only the V6?
It was a 2.8 liter V6. It wasn't a VR6. It wasn't anything special from Volkswagen. Yep. It was a straight up 2.8
Audi
V6.
Yep. Which was a reasonable enough engine. It wasn't a complete boat anchor.
I think it was just shy of 200 horsepower, so not bad at the time. That's about it for
170,
V6s.
180, I think.
Was it that low? I thought it was just under 200.
I think later. I think later it was. I don't know. I want to say it's like 170, 175, maybe 180. I don't know. And then I don't know if it got a power bump later. Probably at some
172.
Point. 172. Okay.
Yep.
There we go. But I like, that was a really, talk about designs that have aged well. That B5 Audi A4.
Yeah, good looking.
It's like the right size. The interior was put together pretty well. It's pretty sharp as far as like just design aesthetic. That same generation A6 that rolled out right afterwards, I think has actually started to look pretty good, but for a long time I thought that was like preposterously ugly.
Weird car.
The C6 chassis, I think.
In 98, the A4 went up to 190. So just 2 years later, you would be 190.
190. Okay. Yeah. So they bumped it up later. And then I think the 1.8 got 150 horsepower when they had the 1.8 turbo. All of the powers.
155 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Sad.
Sad car, sad. Minivans, baby. Town and Country. Woo! Caravan, Voyager.
Represent every socio-economic class with that lineup right there.
Good guy Mopar.
Yeah.
Coming in. That was was that a Lee Iacocca creation? I never remember. I get him and Bob Lutz mixed up in my brain. Yeah. But yeah, interesting year of 1996. I do want to mention something that I think has been snubbed thus far from 93 to 96. No Supra. Supra is not to be mentioned. We've had the RX-7. The 300ZX is still here in 1996, which is funny to think about that the 300ZX, its entire run of that Z32 platform car, was on the 10 best list. And if you were to price out today all of those Japanese golden era Godzilla cars, right? RX-7, 300ZX, VR4, Supra, and the 300ZX. 300ZX is probably like maybe the least well
VR4 3000 GT VR4.
I mean, yeah, it's one of those two.
Yeah, that one's
the VR4 went longer because it went to 99.
Correct, but the market, like, you can definitely get an early 3000 GT VR4 cheaper than a 300ZX twin turbo.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, I don't, but like certainly it would be the second cheapest compared to the RX-7 and the Supra.
Well,
for like
I've owned them both.
Yeah, but like
at the other end of the spectrum, I owned an NSX too, and I think that's why I don't see it on the list. There is a price cap here of 48K, which the Supra I think was just low 50s, correct? So it might be
I know it was later. I think when it rolled out, it probably would have made that cutoff, but I don't know.
It might be just over.
Would have.
It might be just over. Yeah,
might be. You're right. It might be just over. But that's a mini snub.
Yeah.
Potentially. It's no Plymouth Breeze not making the list. It's not that big of a snub. But Honda Civic on here, the 96 Civic, which was that restyled for 96 Civic, the one that gets stolen from everyone's driveway to this very day.
The EK, if you will.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Sweet little hatchback, which they never put a spicy engine in for us. We always got the VX, or CX. Lame.
I almost like, if you say Honda Civic, and I have my eyes closed, that might be that EK is the one I picture, 100%. Like reflexively.
I want to build one out so bad, because I mean that came. If you get the EX trim, like the coupe, you get a VTEC. You get a 1.6 liter VTEC with 127 horsepower. Not bad.
Not bad. I mean, those were small cars, light, tossable, well built, easily stolen. Yeah, good. They're all green in my mind. When I close my eyes, they're all that.
I had a 98 in that forest green that you're talking about, that deep forest green. Yeah, 100%.
Should we go forward one more year? Should we enter?
We should, but I don't think you should skip. You shouldn't skip the fastest car this year, though. It's a good
one. We shouldn't.
It's a good one. So what we have, and I read 96, correct? So I'll bestow upon us the fastest car, the Ferrari F355, baby. 179 mpHs. So
more than you can afford, pal. Yeah,
I bet that was the best sounding fast car at this point.
Yeah. I mean, Diablo they all sound pretty good, but that F355 is sonorous.
Pretty magical. Top selling cars, Ford Taurus holding it down as the Taurus always shall. We know that's going to keep going. Honda Accord and Toyota Camry picking up the slack.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder at what point when we do this exercise that a not sedan is going to be on the list.
Jeez, it's a good question.
I don't know. Well, we will find out. Perhaps another episode. I don't know. But 1997. First off, that price cap you mentioned before does move up. We are now at $54,000. Pretty
inflation,
good,
baby.
It's an inflation sensation.
The economy was super strong in 97.
I know. Yeah, it was. We were. I don't know. We were
the Clintons.
Yeah, Clintons. We're just like ruining Sarajevo. We're doing something bad. I don't know.
Yeah. Epstein Island, something like that.
Yeah. It was probably peak Epstein Island. I don't know. I'm not up on my pedo island timeline. I should be, but I'm not.
Should be.
Okay, 1997, which is going to be the last year we're going to cover in today's
episode. Is rife with controversial topics.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's see if we can find more as we go through this. I have good news, ladies and gentlemen. 1997.
I saw it.
Are you satisfied finally with the final cloud coming into the mix here?
A storm is brewing.
It is Dodge Stratus Plymouth Breeze. A breeze is coming.
This is all we can do, guys. This is all we can do for this fucking list.
Yes. Acura Integra still there, still holding it down.
Good.
Audi A4.
Yes.
The E36 will not die. That now that we've bumped up to the 328 and the M3. The 5 Series
Oh, good.
is here, and
Good.
as it should be. The E39 is something special.
Oh,
and here we are on the list. We have the Chrysler minivan trifecta is back. Contour Mystique will not be denied. They are still here on this list. Prelude SH.
Ooh.
So the Prelude is still on the list, but it is now that 5th generation Prelude, which is a lovely car.
Lovely.
Toyota Camry V6 back in the mix after a couple year hiatus. And something I want to talk about a little bit anyways.
Oh.
Mercedes-Benz SLK, the OG SLK. You have any appreciation? You spent any time with those cars at all?
I almost bought one. I remember it was secondhand, like everything in life that I get to test out. It was abused though. One of those owners that didn't take care of it. The maintenance, you could tell it wasn't a lot of body damage, a lot of curbing of the wheels, that kind of stuff. These things they were pretty hot when they came out. These things were considered like and they still are pretty arresting looking, right? It doesn't look like anything else on the road. And they're just a cool little teeny car. You know, it's not a big car. It's cool looking. Like it doesn't look like anything else. And I always thought they were kind of neat.
And in 1997, just busting up the retractable hardtop.
Yeah.
That was like, talk about a party piece. That was pretty special.
Your phrasing was spot on, busting, because that thing busted, and it was more than the value of the car right now. So
yeah, I mean, the tops were a bit problematic.
They literally dumped the hydraulic fluid in your lap. If
that
you were
was
lucky.
A thing.
Yeah.
It would be, if you're lucky, because otherwise you just like onto your freshly painted hardtop and just etch the paint away.
Yeah.
So you had that. What was interesting was you can get them with a manual, V6 or the compressor, the 4-cylinder supercharged with a manual. And then later, when you had the SLK 32, you had the supercharged V6 for 349 horsepower.
Yep.
But these early cars that had like the kind of honeycomb style front grille,
that's cool.
Just a good looking car. I will say, in a world where like supercharged engines usually sound good, those 4-cylinder cars with that compressor, maybe the worst sounding car.
It's like a vacuum.
History of automobiles.
It's like a vacuum with a sock partially stuck in it.
It's a well home pumped starched sock getting wedged in a vacuum cleaner.
That's exactly what
that is also happens to be full of rocks. It's just rattly and it's not smooth at all. As good as Mercedes-Benz was at making engines, that those 4-cylinder, and really most Mercedes 4-cylinders, but those 4-cylinders were just brutally not nice. I'd still rock one with a manual. They're like 190 horse, I think, something like that.
I think so. The roof is still the issue, right? Like, because I'd want to put that thing down, and one time it's going to go down and not go back. So that's really the pain point of that car, to be honest, right? Without that roof failure.
God, yeah. I don't know. I see now. I want to like casually look for one. There's got to be a solution. Yeah, they're not light.
They're heavier than, like, for the size of the car. When you look at it, the way it's designed, it looks really diminutive, but it actually is a very bulky car. Like it's dense, if you will.
Yeah, I'm curious what the curb weight was on those. It probably
like 3,000, 3,100.
29. Yeah,
29 to 31. Yep.
Yeah, depending on how you spec it. But yeah, interesting car. And how about that 4th gen or that 5th gen Prelude?
Yes, I like those. I do like the 6th gen more. All they did was swap the headlights and taillights, let's be honest, but I like how the 6th gen looks just that little bit more. And I also go non-SH because that's another thing to fail, and it adds extra weight, and you still get an H22 any way you cut it, which is a fantastic motor. Yeah,
the edition. In that, it's good cars, and that is the end of the list. Do you want, before we go over the top 3 and the fastest, do you have any Anyone that we overlooked that we shouldn't?
No, we should buzz through. We're kind of up against it on time.
Well, we are.
Take us home with the fastest car this year because it's quite sweet.
Oh, she's bitching. By the way, I just oh no, that's not it. Never mind. That's the prelude. I thought I found the weight on the SLK, and I did not. It will forever be a mystery. Perfect. 1997. Top selling cars: Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, Ford Taurus. They just are shuffling chairs on the deck here. Fastest car, however, 1997 Dodge Viper GTS at 177 freedom units per hour.
Talk about a Code Brown top speed run right there with that car.
Yeah, I suppose. Like I don't know. There was so much rubber at that meeting the road that maybe, I don't know. I feel like that might be pretty stable at speed.
Dude, I don't know. I don't think until you got into like the ACRs or the GTSs did you get that like arrow and I don't know, maybe some driver aids to save you.
Could be. Well, that was a list. Good list. I'm curious. 98 was a pretty interesting year too. And so we're not getting into that today, but I'm curious, because the next will be what, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, and then the year I graduated high school, 2002, which should be fun.
Absolutely.
Speaking of fun,
this can be fun. I think you got this one. I'm going to omit some stuff, obviously, but my friend, I'm pulling up the ad. Go ahead and run our listeners through it real quickly. The rules of the game.
Rules of engagement. Yes. What's going to happen here? Chadwick has discovered himself the concept of a magazine and literacy, and with that newfound discovery, he's taken one of a page from a magazine, an ad specifically from the 80s, 90s to the mid 2000s, and he is going to read the type copy from that advertisement. It will then be upon me to guess what the vehicle is when he reads that type copy, and he redacts out any overly identifying kibbles and bits. I will then get 3 guesses to guess what the make, model, and approximate year of manufacture of this car is. I get hints if I get them wrong, but I won't. I am ready. Play along at home. It's lots of fun. Chadwick, I'm ready.
Let's go, my friend. The ad is a 1-pager. The vehicle is in some kind of crystalline cave structure with its reflection,
crystalline entity.
It's just very interesting. It's something. This is the blank. Some people might be surprised to learn that this is a blank sports sedan, but because of its 24-valve, 214 horsepower engine, anti-lock brakes, driver and front passenger airbags, blank has a lot of people trading in their blanks. We're not really surprised by this. We view it as a new kind of blank trade agreement. That's all we have, Frank.
Ooh, 214. Okay, sorry. Let's revisit that real quick. You said 24 valve, 214 horsepower, V6. Did it say V6 or just
not? That was your interpretation.
Okay.
24 valve, 214 horsepower engine.
Just a good old engine. 214 luxury sports sedan by blank or blank. Trade in your blank. Show me your blank. Billy Blank's here. The movie Blank Man, starring one of the Wayans brothers. I don't remember which one.
I think it was Keenan Wayans.
Keenan Ivory Wayans. Underrated film.
No, it could have been could be Marlon. I don't know. I think it's Keenan. Go ahead.
It's a Wayans. It's Major Payne himself. 214.
Yeah.
This is a 6-cylinder based upon mathenings. Sports sedan.
Sedan, important part.
They're trading in it reads like an American ad. But a V6 sedan, 214 horsepower. No, that wouldn't make sense.
quite a bit of power.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Mm-mm.
And we're talking about dual
What am I-
airbags.
Yeah, that's what I'm
We're
saying.
talking about anti-lock brakes. It's still something you actually discussed. So this is going to be, in my head, this is probably 96 to 2000, somewhere in there. Because of dual airbags.
Your airbag history.
SRS. Keep your restraints supplemental, okay? Okay. It did not say which wheels it drove.
No,
It did not discuss transmission options.
did not.
It did not discuss, I mean, it said anti-lock brakes.
True.
But that was kind of it. And people are trading in their blanks for their blanks. And putting their thumbs up their blanks. So why don't we I'm gonna take a bit of a stab. I'm gonna say this is a 1998 Oldsmobile Aurora with the what they called it, I believe they called it the Short Star engine. So that wouldn't be the 4-liter, that'd be the 3.5, where they took the 4-liter and hacked 3 cylinders off, or 2 cylinders off it. 3 would be fun. They hacked 2 cylinders off of it.
That would be interesting.
And I don't remember about the power, but it feels about right. So I'm going to say this is a 1998 Oldsmobile Aurora with the 3.5. Final answer.
No one was trading in their cars for Auroras, my friend.
Okay.
Maybe some old couples.
Is that what it is? They're trading in their cars?
It said they're trading in their blanks. I didn't want to give away the word I blanked. Come on.
Okay. Okay. But you said cars.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that you weren't uncovering the blank to be the word car.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
I can, your option for a hint. I can answer a question you have, or I can read some of my blanks. Choice is yours.
I feel reading a blank or two of your choice, I feels more organic
Okay.
of a hint.
Some people might be surprised to learn that this is an American sports sedan.
Got it. Okay.
A lot of people turning in their imports.
Okay.
We view it as a new kind of foreign trade agreement.
Okay. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, it helps, but it opens up a different can of worms here.
What if I told you you are ahead on the timeline of life?
Okay. I'm gonna.
We're talking dual airbags and ABS. We're not in late 90s. That would have been like some carryover bullshit.
I think. I know I'm pretty sure we've done a Catera.
That's why this horsepower is like bigger than you think it is.
I don't think this is Lisa Catera. But that would be a V6 captive import American sports sedan that people are trading in their Yugos for. I don't think. Boy, could it be Lisa Catera? I don't think it is. I don't think it is the Clitera. Otherwise, it's not it doesn't feel like a Lincoln product. I'm just gonna go with I'm gonna say it's a 1998 Caddy that zigs. This is a Cadillac Catera.
This is not the Caddy that zigs.
Ooh.
And you're still way too ahead on time, man. You got to turn back the clock quite a bit.
Dual airbags. Captive.
I think, Frank,
maybe it's not a captive import.
Your head's like way up in the clouds in the late 90s. and it needs to come down to earth a little bit. This is also a spicy variant.
A spicy variant
of a common car.
Of a common car. Am I overreading the trade agreement thing? Is this not a captive import?
No, it's just saying like it's an American car and you should definitely buy it because it competes with its contemporary import.
Right, but the new type of trade agreement made me think that like it was a captive import.
No, they're really pressing the fact that this thing's goddamn American.
American. Okay.
Sports sedan too. Sports sedan with 214 horsepower.
214.
Good number.
V6, presumably naturally aspirated. I like your head in the clouds thing, but it's not a cloud car.
You scared by that power number, aren't you?
It's a trip because if it was a little less than that, right? If it was 200, if it was 190, there's like about a million different cars that could be.
God, I think the cloud cars, the base model Stratus, I think when they came out were like 160.
Well, the base is like I think the V6, I think the high flying one was like 160, 170.
Yeah. It was this is a big number. That's what I'm saying. Like during this time period, this is not a small number.
It's very American, quote unquote sports sedan. Shoot.
I want you to get this so bad. It's so American. It's so American. It's bald eagles, baseball, and burgers on the grill, Frank.
God damn it. The dual overhead 24 valve, I suppose. So yeah, dual overhead cam. 214 horsepower. I've probably got about 2 minutes left to figure this thing out.
You have a $120.
Got it. American cars with dual overhead cams trip me up. We've discovered this. I'm going to say this feels like it very much could. God, could it be a Pontiac?
I'm telling you, man, just get your head out of the clouds. Bald eagles. Let's go. America. Do you pick up what I'm throwing down, my buddy?
Can't be an Eagle Vision.
One way to interpret.
Oh man, sports sedan, almost out of time.
30 seconds.
I'm spinning my wheels here. I'm going to say that this is.
Ah! I don't know what that animal sounds like.
Ooh-wah! Ooh-wah! Okay. This is a 1991.
Oh, right at the buzzer. Let's go. I'll let you finish. Shots in the air.
1992 Eagle Vision.
I'm gonna have to give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you because it's pretty hard if you're not as obsessed with American turd boxes as me. This is the Eagle Vision TSI, just like the other Talon TSI. This is the spicy version. So this had a 3.5 liter V6 versus the lesser motor, and it had the 214 horsepower.
Did it have that much?
1993, so you were close on year. This thing, that was a lot.
I dare anyone to drive that and call it a sports sedan. However,
compared to what else was on the table from domestics in 1993, this thing was pretty powerful.
I mean, it is. And 93.
I mean, a supercharged Bonneville had less horsepower.
Did it? I thought those were 225.
No, mine was like 205. They didn't go. They went to 225, then they went to 240.
Got it. Okay.
Like 205. Yeah.
I can't say I've ever driven one.
So the 3.5 was only in the TSI.
But was that also in the Intrepid and the Concorde, the 3.5?
I think they had a version.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I think they each had spicy, like the LXI Concorde might have gotten that motor.
right? Instead of
And
the
then I
LX.
forget what the Intrepid, maybe like SE or something, was an optional engine.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. With
I'm giving you a weak pass on that one, dude.
oh, that's I deserve the fail on that one.
Did you like it?
Interesting.
Keep your head out of your clouds. I mean, as American as a bald eagle.
No, I know. It's just I don't know.
But now you get what I was trying to push that power for, man. I mean, 214, like out of a naturally aspirated V6, American V6 in 1993 is a lot of power.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm pretty surprised that those have passenger airbags.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Because I
a
mean
cool
the mandate to have a driver's side airbag was what 92 91.
Yeah, and this was cab
Right there.
forward, which I didn't want to throw out there necessarily.
Yeah, cab forward. I mean that was all the marketing on that was cab forward design, more room for your
These
junk.
let me see if I can negotiate this wiring mess to show you. These things had a pretty cool front end. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, a little bit of a beak.
Yeah, it was a little sportier looking than the regular Vision, and it was, like the Talon TSI, there was the Eagle Vision TSI. So never offered with a manual, unfortunately. If they were, that'd be kind of a cool little car to seek out.
Oh yeah. All right. I'm
played.
keeping my eyes peeled for an Eagle Vision.
Head out of the clouds.
Head out of the clouds. Have you worked on things? Because I haven't.
I have to, man. I don't have an option. The Nissan back in the garage.
Yeah, look at that.
The clutch has always felt like you're pushing it through really thick oatmeal, which is never a good feeling. Now, this, my friend, has no hydraulics. There is no clutch master or slave on that car. It is a clutch cable, which sucks. Even when they're brand new, not the best clutch feel in the world. But they can be pretty balls to the wall reliable because you don't have the hydraulic issues. You don't have the fluid loss, all the other kind of things that come with that. It's a mixed bag, right? Everybody has mixed feelings on which one they prefer. Pain in the butt, dude. Absolute pain in the butt to run a new clutch cable. I am not a flexible older gentleman, and the NX is not a large car. So you're talking like extreme yoga positions to just run that on the back of the clutch, and then to access where it drops into the transmission, you're pulling the battery, airbox, and a bunch of other stuff out of the way. So real pain in the butt operation, but worth it because I think having that clutch feel, it was still drivable at first, but sometimes it wouldn't start because the clutch wasn't all the way down actuating. Because what happens is that the cables bind up over time. They can also stretch. So sometimes a cable can stretch so much the car will not start or shift. So that's interesting. Done. Job done. Clutch feels good.
Feels great.
Good. I'm more of a hydraulic clutch guy. I like a hydraulic clutch more, but now this feels better. Before it was absolutely horrible. But
well done, sir.
Love this car. What a cool little car, though. I cannot wait to get
what's left
up. Cosmetics, some interior stuff. What else do I have? A couple little things. I got to redo the wheels, that kind of stuff.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Cool car.
Very cool car. I'm into it.
You're doing a pass on PCP this week?
I have nothing. It's not good. It's not okay.
It's not okay. Well,
it's not.
Why don't you just shut this circuits down, if you will?
Yeah, we should burn this building down with all of us in it. And thank you for being part of that in self-immolation, dear listener. Continue to keep jumping on board and paying attention to what we're doing. It is fun. Thank you for being a part of it. If you want to be more a part of it, feel free to stalk us and harass us digitally. The best way to do that's going to be via the Nearly Abandoned Instagram page. That's at APA Podcast on the grams. Do the whole brutally savage us in various reviews on all of the platforms, and tell people to avoid us like the plague. That's your friends, your family, and certainly your enemies. Nobody cares what I'm up to on all the things. So in order to avoid me, I'm Frank. And I'm also the Photographer's Garage on all of the places. How about you, Chadwick? Where can people actively harass you?
Yeah, please do. Auto Obsessive Garage for all your rescues, restorations, and reviews. I've got the TSX series kicking off right now, so stop by, check it out. Mostly on YouTube, a little Instagram presence, but yeah, check it out. And again, we thank you guys for taking your time to listen to this
Yeah.
humble podcast, and we appreciate having you here. So, dream of that list. Did you have any favorites on the list? Let us know.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your feedback.
Or snubs.
Some great cars, some obvious left off examples, but we will catch you guys. I don't know. What do you say? In a week, Frank?
Yeah,
Catch you
let's
guys
do
in a
that.
week. All right.
See you then.
Take care, guys. As always, peace.